home is there in Portland. Interesting. Right, well, stay tuned. Now, this story really caught my eye, and I wanted to share it with you because according to a study by the UK Dementia Research Institute at Cardiff University, smartwatches, of which I don't have, can identify Parkinson's 7 years before symptoms surface in people who develop the disease. So there was a trial. Over 100,000 people took part with these watches, and they were able to detect that people's movements during light activity slowed down before diagnosis, and that includes tasks like making the bed or cleaning. Now, although smartwatches cannot predict who will get Parkinson's, it can help to identify those who are more at risk of the disease. That's interesting. So joining me now to discuss is Dr. Rafid Al-Mafouda. So, Dr. Rafid, talk to me about this then. So, because I slow down if I'm making the bed, if I'm exhausted, like today I did my heat yoga, I get home, I'm exhausted, I'm going to make the bed more slowly. How can the smartwatch work that out? I don't understand.
Well, I think you raise a good afternoon, first of all, but I think you raise a very good point in that what you've read as an article is describing a screening tool. So in medicine, we generally have multiple types of investigations, and some of these investigations are aimed at populations and aimed at screening. So what they should be is sensitive to picking up a potential problem, but they're not necessarily specific in diagnosing what the actual problem is. So in this case, and in this study, as you've mentioned briefly, is a reliance on smartwatches, which obviously is exciting. That there's a new technology which is being used in medicine in this way. And the smartwatches are analyzing gait. So I guess that's a specific example, a specific measurement which probably differentiates what you've mentioned as being tired overall. So it's analyzing gait, and the type of gait analysis will be looking at the speed of acceleration, the time, the swing time, and the step length. So there's specific parameters within gait which are being analyzed. And when then that is, with the use of AI and modeling, what the study group have aimed to do is diagnose which patients have Parkinson's or are at risk of developing Parkinson's. And Parkinson's, just for the viewers, is fairly common amongst the neurodegenerative diseases, which means diseases which develop with time in some patients. Possibly 1 in 37 is estimated as in the UK may develop some form of Parkinson's, where the cells degenerate or die in the nervous system, and these are specific cells which do or responsible for specific fine-tuning of movement. And when those neurotransmitters are lost, then certain symptoms become apparent. And in the case of Parkinson's, those symptoms will include things like stiffness, or in what we in medical terms will use is bradykinesia, which means slowness of movement. In addition to tremor. Those are pretty much the hallmarks of Parkinson's disease clinically. And the aim of this watch is to provide a diagnostic tool for that. So as you said, there was roughly over around 100,000 people involved. The study arm, in terms of number of patients with Parkinson's, is not a large number overall. It's around 100 to 150. So I think they had two arms within that study where it did correlate, the data that they had did correlate with a problem with gait in patients who had Parkinson's, and as you said, patients who then went on to develop Parkinson's. So I guess what it does provide is an exciting possible screening tool, and I think smartwatches, which I think, to put the conversation a bit wider with AI, may provide populations or population-based screening tools to pick things up. Not just Parkinson's, it could be stroke, it could be many other things, looking at vital signs, etc. So I think there's definitely something in this for the future of medicine. But for specific studies, as we've just mentioned.
But Dr. Rafid, once they've discovered it and they think, OK, so you're susceptible, it's likely to be you, is there anything to help you? Because I don't know whether I'd want to know 7 years earlier if I'm going to find out that I'm going to get this thing later on, but I just found out 7 years earlier, but there's nothing there to actually help me. Is there anything there now? Has the treatment progressed with the condition?
I think it's another fair point, but in general, any management, even when there's no cure, between inverted commas, if you like, for a condition, there will be management options, and they may be to help the symptoms of. Moreover, with these type of conditions, because it's generally a very gradual, slow process, it may be very late down the line when a specific reason is diagnosed, which can lead to difficulties, social difficulties, an effect on quality of life, non-recognition, etc. So it's reintroduced.
So there is potential to sort of help people if you do find out you've got it before. Listen, we're running out of time, Dr. Rafid. It's very good
Exactly
to talk
right.
to you. Thank you so much. That's Dr. Rafid Al-Mufada. Thank you very much. He's a consultant neurosurgeon and complex spine surgeon. Wow, must be a very clever man. I'd like to know stuff like that, but I think that's gone. It's gone. I'm never going to be that clever. Right.